Draft your LCS team and earn money. Alpha Draft.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our English broadcast of the Chinese LPL. I'm, of course, Max Atlas Anderson, joined by Jake Spawn Siberian. We're back for Game 2 between Starhorn Royal Club and M3, formerly World Elite Academy. And what a first game by Royal Club.
Yeah, we're going to call it, I think, Cola's revenge. After he just absolutely destroyed Looper in those team fights. Came up absolutely massive on that Nah. And yeah, just Royal Club coming out huge.
Yeah, doing massive things with a member of their team that they weren't necessarily prepared to play with. HYY playing fantastically, you have to admit. I mean, we were thinking that he was going to be a weak link of this team. Definitely held his own. Stayed ahead on items throughout that game. Mostly Candy did sort of have a shining moment towards that later mid-game, but not really managing to have the impact that HYY did, even in just a sub-role. But they are back into this champion select with Royal Club on our blue side and our red side being M3. Rumble going to be taken away first, and Rexa, she's not going to see a spot in this series.
Yeah, and I think that M3 really need to improve their pick ban phase. I wasn't impressed at all by how they went about the last one. I think there was too small of a window for Dade to get anything done on that Jace pickup, and in the end, Cassidy just ran over the top. And the top Annie just was not great whatsoever. So looks like we're seeing J4 taken away once again. Will be surprised if they leave Lee Sin up for a first pick, although if they do it with the Nara, I think the Nara is definitely priority at this point.
And I think it works out in Insect's favor as well if they ban 3 of these junglers away, just because his jungle champion pool is so massive. Lysandra, another obligatory ban going to be taken off the board, and Zero not going to see that Thresh. Really worried about that first pick for the really playmaking support.
Yeah, and I was told during the break that Thresh is actually the most played champion in China.
Oh, you could imagine.
Thresh number 1, Lucian number 2. So getting that one off the board definitely is worthwhile. We saw that Zero played it to good effect, had a very bad misplay in the mid lane where he kind of flash hooked a minion and then killed everyone on his team. So did have a good overall game, and getting rid of Zero from Thresh as well. So we're going to have to see him pull out something different. It does leave Nara up to be first pick once again.
But it's actually going to be Korn. We're stepping back.
Locked it in yet.
Stepping back into potentially the time where Cassidy was just, you have to ban it, otherwise it'll be first pick. But
he's
not sure whether
not
he's there yet.
No,
definitely not. But Korn, I mean, he looked fantastic. But Na's available again, and of course Cole is going to pick that up.
Yeah, and I think Na much more safer to first pick.
Yeah.
There is not really much you can do about it. They did leave up the LeBlanc this time, so that will be maybe locked in for Dade. Although swapping Ruo back over to that Lee Sin, he did have a fantastic game. Have to give props to Ruo. He showed up. It was just that there was a little bit too much collapsing going on around the map.
Yeah, and I think that Ruo also needs to be on something like this Lee Sin that can get Cola out of these fights, because we saw when M3 were going to be successful, it's when that Dragon Rage was used to get Na out of the faces of his carries.
Wow, and once again, Annie being locked in. Would be surprised if that went back into the top lane, although Looper might still have something. We didn't get to see it go head-to-head in the early game, so
yeah, and
potentially
look, we might just have the same teams all over again, apart from the fact that Thresh has been banned away, so that's impossible to see. Korn looking at the Cassidy once more, and he was definitely man enough to pick it into anything that Dade had.
Yeah, and so maybe the Cassidy pickup is that high of priority.
Siva escaped the ban list as well.
Yeah, so Siva, we'll talk about that in a second, but the Cassidy are willing to pick it blind, so not happy to take it into any lane matchup. Doesn't think Dade has anything that can really trouble him enough in the early and mid game to not make it worthwhile in the late game, as it looks like Looper might actually go for a Maokai this time around. But Siva is rising to popularity in LPL and LCK more than probably any champion. The pick rate has increased so much, and it's because of that ultimate around these dragons. Just get you in, get able to start a fight out of absolute nowhere, especially if you have a Scuttle Crab Shrine. And I like the Siva pickup. Pushes very, very well. Puts a lot of pressure on in lane.
I find it very interesting as well, the fact that last season, at the very beginning of the season, Siva incredibly popular. We saw the fall off of Corki. It's happening all over again. I would hazard a guess that Corki might find his way back into the meta towards the end of this season as well. Sort of like the rotation of AD carries. But Candy going to be on that Lucian once more, and it's going to be Love CD picking up that Annie in the support role. So Looper not opting to go for that one again.
Yeah, unless we see something extremely crazy coming out, and it looks like Insect may actually go for the Pantheon. Pantheon Leona, great combo because of how long range that Solar Flare is, can set up a nice Grand Skyfall ahead of the team, and then with Gnar crashing in, all the follow-up damage that can come through. And the one danger of Pantheon is if you ult too far, you don't, they can turn around and kill you. If you ult too close, they just walk out of your ultimate. Sivir gets rid of that problem because you can speed everyone up, you can ult as far back as you want, and your team will be able to catch you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And having Kohler as well, being able to just bounce through the team as well. If he finds something that he can bounce on, he can really get right in amongst it. So we'll see what Dade wants to pick up against this lineup. So he gets to see everything and can choose accordingly. But against Korn's Cassidy, I mean, he didn't care. Oh my goodness, don't hover this. It's making me feel all excited and confused. Azir's up though. Haven't seen Dade play that one before.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it either, but I like the pickup because it's another thing to get Kohler out of their team. So they've got the kick. If he flashes back in, they can just Azir him out. They just do not want that Gnar anywhere near their team. So a good control mid lane to come through, of course, puts out a lot of damage as well through the mid and late game. So see how this one matches up against the Cassidy in the mid game. But you think they have to try something different now. They've gone much tankier and much more standard M3 in this game.
Yeah, and they certainly have more consistent damage as well. It's not about the big burst. It's not about like landing those shock blasts, having this Jace to do a lot of upfront damage. It's utilizing that Tibbers stun in order to really set up those Sand Soldiers, make sure you got Maokai right in there with that Vengeful Maelstrom, just soaking damage and letting Azir do a lot of that consistent work.
Yeah, and the dive that can come through from Maokai means that he can kind of match what was happening last game with Gnar leaping into the team fight. So that Arcane Smash is a very annoying ability in its own right, able to lock people up, continue to CC them. So the follow-up might not be there for Gnar this game, although you would think that with a Sivir, just being able to run past a Maokai and hit that back line will be extremely easy.
Yeah, not to mention that as far as a head-to-head 2-on-2 lane is concerned, Sivir Leona is terrifying towards the early stages just because they have so much damage and so much ability to push the wave as well. I mean, if you Zenith Blade those creeps and then get a Ricochet going through there, they're not going to last very long.
Yeah, definitely. So able to push that one out. Leona, once she gets a couple of points in that W as well, becomes extremely tanky innately around the first and second dragon fight. So she's something that you definitely have to deal with as she continues to CC multiple people. However, we are into the Rift.
Yeah, we're onto the Rift. Ladies and gentlemen, Royal Club now on our blue side and M3 in the red pants, and I'm very excited to see how this is going to work out, and I think that Royal Club really want to try and get these standard lanes coming into this matchup.
Yeah, and if we think back to how Royal Club started off last game, they did it with a late invade and were able to push Ruo off his Gromp and his blue buff.
Yes.
So see if they go something similar. Imsec is leading the charge, and they might have... No, Lupa able to back out. Good ward, spotting everyone that walks over that. So maybe not the same thing going to be able to happen this game.
Yeah, Zero just going to make sure that he soaks up that sapling on his own. Doesn't get it to come over towards anyone else. Kohler hanging out by himself. Just going to be boomeranging Candy here just a little bit. He's going to put down a ward. And see what he can do as far as putting on some added pressure. Just hanging out here on his own as Dade's hanging out by his turret as well. And look at how aggressive Royal Club are.
Yeah, so getting that deep ward once again onto the red buff, going to know exactly where Ruo starts, and they're going to know who helps him leash, more importantly, if they are once again looking for that lane swap. So they have sent Kohler back to base. He's walking towards the mid lane, looking to join up once again with Insect. So it looks like once again the lane swap successfully achieved by Starhole and Royal Club.
Yeah, they are going to be able to get this one through. So keeping HYY away from a 2v2 situation where Candy and Love CC can utilize their synergy to really capitalize on this one. And
great pathing coming out of Insect, making sure he's walking around all the wards, not going to come into vision until the minions have met in the mid lane. So they've pinged him out now, but if they wanted to achieve standard lanes, as you were hinting at, they definitely have missed that opportunity, and it looks like both lanes will freeze once again. No fast pushes.
Yeah, we do have the double jungling situation coming in here as well, so double Krug start happening only for Royal Club. It's actually going to be Ruo and Lupa starting off at the red buff here, which we've been seeing a little bit more of here in China as opposed to other regions who really like to get those Krugs first.
Yeah, I think that they're just trying to move around as fast as possible. The first ones do take, the Gromp and the Krugs take a little bit more killing. And so they just try to get as many of the camps and get it on cooldown as fast as possible. As we see, Korn actually hitting level 2 first in this mid lane, and looking like he's not being, as I say, he gets pushed off the minion wave, but he's got it pushing in his direction, which is so important from Cassinan to be able to get the early advantage and be able to keep up in that lane.
Yeah, you can see HYY trying his best to last hit these minions at the last possible time and keep the potential freeze happening.
Yeah, he's definitely got it. He's got an extra caster creep, and that's how you tell how the wave's going to freeze. As the next wave comes up, you can tell that that minion on the right will most likely survive, so it will stay there in a freeze.
Yep, beautifully well orchestrated. And on the backside, it looks like Candy and Love CC have actually started this lane pushing in their favor.
Yeah, so looks like that one may start pushing.
That being said, I'm not necessarily the wave manipulation master that you are.
It certainly will start pushing. You're right.
And one thing I really want to mention as well is the fact that Dade managed to get down his Sand Soldier, get an auto attack, then make it attack through Korn and get another auto as well. A lot of Azirs managed to only get one auto attack from that Sand Soldier after they managed to land the Q. So excellent play coming here from Dade to maximize the amount of trade damage he manages to get early on in this game.
Once again, it looks like two members of Starhorn Royal Club looking to get some action around the mid lane. Insect maybe even looking for the jungle. Won't be able to find it.
Yeah, Love CC actually, CD, sorry. A long way away.
Ooh, and they have met up. There is a little bit of a scuffle. Insect in a lot of trouble.
He's taking a lot of damage from this early game. Oh, look at Ruo just straight over there, but Dade's in here as well. Korn in a lot of trouble at the same time. Ruo is going to come around. Love CC is going to be the focus of Korn. Does get the Ignite down. Oh, the Force Pulse is there as well. The heal to come through. Love CD. Oh, nice safeguard. Don't think it was quite necessary, but that's going to be 2 kills for nothing for M3, including First Blood.
Yeah, Dade wanted that kill on himself, and it cost him a summoner spell for it. So much damage able to come out of Korn there on that Cassinan. Not able to pick himself up a kill, but that was extremely close.
Certainly was, but this is exactly the start that you want to have against a Cassinan as well. I mean, this is going to keep him down for as long as possible.
Yeah, and the thing as there's a gank coming into the bottom lane, ooh, Zero just missing out on that Zenith Blade.
A little bit tough there when it is a blind one, as Cola was bouncing his way through to the best of his ability.
Yeah, but did have a ward available, so maybe could have used the ward and then Zenith Blade afterwards. Might even been able to get a summoner spell out of it for that.
As Dade now with about a 12 CS advantage here. No mana though in the mid lane, so he's going to head back to base and pick up a couple of items and head back into this lane as well to fight Korn, who was just such a force in the late game of our last series.
Yeah, it certainly was, and it looks like we'll have a jungle and support facing off against an AD on both sides of the map. So leaving HYY up here to soak as much experience in CF as possible.
And how do you think that that works out as far as getting solo lane experience for a Lucian as opposed to a Sivir?
Yeah, I think that Sivir's ultimate is much more important for the first Dragon fight, but they would have had it regardless. Sivir pushes waves very well with levels as opposed to Lucian, who uses it to trade. But I think more importantly that the Annie feels that with the long range stun, we'll be able to affect the map a little bit more. Although as soon as Leona hits level 6, that changes dramatically.
Look at M3 just so aggressively in the jungle of Royal Club as well.
And Insect just Leona's up there as well. And I guess Pantheon at this point of the game still does a lot of damage, but still spotting him out. We'll be able to pick up the Gromp for themselves. So a successful piece of counter jungling coming out of Ruo.
Yeah, and Insect actually just wandered up to this top lane and is now backing again. He hasn't been able to do anything this game. He's just died. 15 CS now as well, so 21 here from Ruo with his counter jungling really paying off for them as well. And look at the deep warding. I mean, that pink ward up so far into the jungle of Royal Club.
Yeah, and it looks like they might even be looking for a dive to come through here onto Korn. Not liking that Cassinan for last game, trying to shut him down as much as possible. Korn senses something is up, but...
And Dade's hit level 6 as well, is going to have that ultimate to come through. There's the knock up, so much damage. Ruo threading the needle. Love CC. Oh, yeah. Jumping on through, and he's going to be able to possibly make his way out as well because Ruo does not want to go underneath that turret. So 1 for 1 there.
And Dade being helped out a lot as well. More action in the bot lane. Candy going aggressive on Cola.
Yeah, Kohler probably going to be able to make his way out of this one, but Candy has certainly asserted his dominance and made sure that this Nara is not going to get any of the experience that is dying to that turret.
Yeah, and we mentioned the need for M3 to go aggressive early and really try and rattle this Royal Club lineup, and they've done exactly that. Ruo has been everywhere. 2-0 on 1, 100% kill participation on Lee Sin. Much better early game coming out of M3's jungler.
Yeah, really beautiful. And look at their deep warding. I mean, they've got this blue buff side of Royal Club's jungle just lit up. They know exactly where Insect's going to be.
Well, they already have 3 pink wards on the top side of the map, just controlling complete vision. It's as much about vision denial as it is about anything else. As the turret in the bottom lane falls, and they're maybe camping out this red buff, waiting for Insect to come in. Zero is there also.
Yeah, Eclipse just popping as well. They are going to be able to clear out this ward here, but it is going to give them up. Dade and Love CC are going to have to give up on that little cheeky plan that they had there.
2,000 gold advantage accumulated at only 8 minutes in. And as we said, complete map control. Insect only level 4, picking up his 2nd round of buff, so he is very far behind on this Pantheon. And if you're a Pantheon and you don't get anything done in the early game, you fall off extremely hard.
Yeah, as you Grand Skyfall in, you're just not going to have the health in order to stay around and get any of your damage out. So Insect trying to get back into this one. Only level 5 can have that Grand Skyfall next level.
Once again, a massive group of individuals from M3 around the top side of the map. They have gone on to Korn. Once again, Roy hitting that resignating strike.
Yeah, the Riftwalk going to be pretty useful in getting Korn out of danger now that he's hit that level 6 mark. Now going to be a little bit more safe in this mid lane.
The pressure on this buff is so big. Insect being caught out.
Yeah, Twisted Advance coming through as well. There's Ventral Maelstrom just stopping Lupa from taking any damage. Ruo's in here with a safeguard. Insect, you're in so much trouble, buddy. Ruo just going to finish him off, I think with a smite there as well, so that's a bit cute.
Yeah, and 3-0 on 1. The only problem with this is a lot of gold going over onto M3's jungle, and they may want it in another area. However, that is still now a 3,000 gold advantage and complete control of the map. So definitely a better start of the game, and see if M3 can really push this one through early.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that Dade stole away that blue buff as well, so that's not going to be going to Korn, and he's going to be able to use his spells with impunity as well, as this mid lane turret is going to go down as well. So first turret of the game, second turret of the game, sorry, going to M3.
And Lucian, as well as Azir, take turrets so quickly with that W and the Light Slinger passive coming through from Lucian. Looks like they're rotating into a Dragon. Lupa, of course, has that teleport advantage, and they still have Sivir in the top lane, so they won't be able to contest this one. 3 consecutive objectives going over to M3.
Yeah, and they also clear out the outer turrets in the bottom side of the map and then transition into this Dragon. Just beautiful objective control and timing coming through from M3. And their warding has been impeccable. This looks like a different team coming in this time. They're not the indecisive M3 that sort of didn't really know how to play out their comp that we saw in the last game, and they're just playing this one beautifully.
Well, this comp makes much more sense. Good disengage coming out of the jungle as well as a mid laner. Very good persistent damage and CC, so much better pick-bang phase coming through from M3. Looks like they've turned this one around.
Yeah, they certainly have. Really beautifully played. Yeah, just going to hang back, just pause this one out just a little bit as the feed is just struggling slightly. But let's just recap on what's happened right for M3 this game as opposed to what happened in the last game.
Well, they had a fairly good turning point last game where they were able to get Dade 3 kills. And then Nah just got too big. But this time around, it looks like they've controlled the Nah much more effectively. And more importantly, they've taken early objectives. So being able to pick up those 2 turrets, mid and bottom, and transition into a Dragon and control vision the way they have, just means that they're going to be so much more scary, and they'll be able to pick people off, as they've been doing with Insect over and over again.
Yeah, they most certainly have. It's a much different lineup, and Ruo has just shown his prowess on this Lee Sin in both games. Irrespective of the fact that they lost the first one, his plays throughout that game were beautiful to watch, as they are going to put some extra pressure down onto the last remaining outer turret here as Lupa is actually going to be doing some dirty farming here as Sonic Wave resonating strike going to land. There's the flash into the kick as well, forcing the flash out of HYY. Going to be using that ultimate here as well. Lupa's found his way in amongst 3 members. Going to get exhausted here as well and smited. Zero's going to land the Zenith Blade. They've managed to get Lupa, but in the backside, there are horrible things happening for M3. The double kill with the Riftwalk coming from Korn. And this is not what M3 wanted. No. That is just Korn straight back into the game.
Yeah, and once again, it's all around this Nah being able to CC 2 people by himself for so long, allowing Korn to have enough time to rotate through to the top lane, getting more people on their side of the map, and a little bit of over-aggression from M3 has resulted in a massive swing.
Yeah, well, actually, Candy getting caught here by the Solar Flare as well. HYY almost going down. Looper's managed to teleport back into this one, but it's a little bit too late because Candy's already dead. The sapling's going to explode. He's slowing down Zero, trying to get something happening. Dade is just pigeoning himself through this jungle, but he's getting collapsed on by 3 members. Insect's here as well. There's actually going to be the wall to come out. And Insect throwing out these spears, doesn't have the flash. Ooh, does have the flash available, but Dade, he's going to get ignited here as well. Acorn coming through using the last bit of his mana. Ruo's going to get smited here as well, and they're just getting baited over and over as M3, and Looper just couldn't get in.
Yeah, and Insect now picking up 3 kills as well. He's right back in this game, and even though we complimented Ruo's early game, he's completely back to even with Insect now, and all the meanwhile, Cola's been in this bottom lane farming up, so yeah, that went extremely badly for M3, and they've just completely given up their early game advantages.
Yeah, Royal Club just switching it back on. I mean, we saw them sort of floundering a little bit there, but you can never count these guys out. They are definitely rocks here in this game, as Candy's just going to try and find his way back into this one.
Yeah, and Dade has built himself a little bit of a CS advantage, but the extra assist and kill onto Korn will equal that one out nicely, so he's got that roller and a
Oh my goodness. Cola just 1v1ing Candy, and look, we're sorry that we didn't manage to find that one, but that was just almost instantaneous.
Yeah, and it looks like 2 members are coming down. They don't know the Zero's in the brush. Now they do.
And they just want none of it. 2 members? No. Cola too strong.
So yeah, from what was a terrific early game from M3, it started to collapse very, very quickly. They really need to sit back and take stock now. There's 2 minutes until the Dragon. Look to see if they can get another good team fight with the amount of control they can get through from Ruo and Dade on Lee Sin and Azir. Looper, once again, not having a great game on Maokai. Much better than last game. He's definitely going to be tanky, building up that new item, but yeah, it's just not really working out for him.
Yeah, and this tower is so low. That last cannon, caster minion almost manages to take it out, and HYY is probably going to be able to do that work as well. As Dade's just going to clear out these creeps in the mid lane. Has picked up that Athene's Unholy Grail. Of course, Morellonomicon now costing a little bit more money, so people going back to that Athene's just a little bit more.
I think it also has a lot to do that he's against a Kassadin that will repetitively jump on him, and he wants a little bit more MR. So
yeah, true.
Athene's is great because it gives you some defensive stats, especially against these assassins that are coming through from Korn. So nice pick up there from Dade. He once again looks solid in the mid lane, but isn't really, I guess, doing enough for his team. They need him to really be that mid lane carry.
Yeah, they certainly do. And sort of in that last skirmish that they lost so spectacularly with Korn coming through for that double kill Rift Walk, I mean, if Dade was there as well, I mean, that Emperor's Divide could have been used to such great effect to get them out of this one. So see whether he can do some work getting around this map. Okay,
so the last advantage on this map for M3 is that they know exactly when this Dragon is spawning. 30 seconds, and they've got pretty good vision control. Look for them to rotate into potentially the Scuttle Crab to get that speed shrine down. But looks like they need to potentially... Yeah, so they've gone down. They're going to pick that one up. They're pushing out mid-wave just so they have vision of all the way down to that second turret. And they've set up very, very nicely for them.
Yeah, actually Zero getting aggressed on here as well. Chilling Smite's going to come out. Ruo does land the Sonic Wave. There's the Solar Flare going to try and slow down Ruo a bit, but Korn only able to throw out that Q.
Great textbook setup there. Knew exactly when Dragon were up. Got the pick. Now going to be able to transition into this. Insect does have his ult available. Looks to see if he goes in with it. No, they're just giving up the second one of the game.
Yeah, and that's going to mostly be for denial here. So Royal Club not going to have those extra offensive stats.
But they're really also getting it on cooldown. So 16 minutes to have 2 Dragons means that you're going to have the 5th one by about the 30-minute mark, which is just so early in the game. As well, HYY being caught out, has to use that ultimate.
Yeah, Righteous Glory was used as well. There's the flash tippers onto HYY. He does manage to escape using that heal and the flash over the wall, but in the backline, Ruo is going to try and kick out Korn. Flashes over the wall. He ignites Sicking. Safeguard's going to help him get out of this one as Looper's just trying to tank up these members. Teleport's coming in. Cola, the big Gnar, is going to get the massive Gnar into the wall. Love CD almost gets immediately taken down. Dade gets Emperor's Divide off before falling down.
and Cola's going to have to get over this one, but Lupa's going to fall as well, and Cola is just too impactful on this champion.
I cannot believe that Na has got through another ban phase. He is just so huge in these mid-game team fights. You get, with the Leona, that was like 4 seconds of solid CC, not able to go anywhere, and absolutely decimating the M3 lineup.
That was just terrifying to watch if you're an M3 fan. Eclipse is going to go off here, Zero,
And
trying
that
to
started
get
in
something.
their catch.
Yeah.
They thought they'd caught HYY there. They only were able to pick up Insec in the end, I believe.
And the fact that HYY managed to make it out as well, even though he blew both of his summoner spells, he expended so much time and resources coming through. Love CC actually had to flash ignite Tibbers onto him to try and get that lockdown, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, and now, if we take a little bit of stock at the items, it looks like Cassidy has picked up his second item. Will be a Morellonomicon.
Still a little bit behind in farm, but it's no worries. Does have that one extra kill up on Dade, and you know, this is Korn. I mean, he's going to continue getting these kills, getting these picks around this mid to late game because this is where he thrives.
Yeah, and we see Infinity Edge and Zeal coming through as well for HYY. So a little bit ahead of Candy, who's clearing out that ward now. Zero might have been a little bit caught. Azir doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, Ru actually safeguarding in. There's the culling coming down as well. Oh, there's the resignating strike. And that'll pick him up that kill as well. Korn going to force to use that Riftwalk a little bit defensively here, and they do have a nice little setup. Ruo taking so much damage on the hunt has been popped. Lupa's teleporting in. Emperor's Divide used in the wrong direction by the looks of things. Just a little bit trying to get someone into this one, but Korn able to Riftwalk in time to get out of that.
Na's ultimate is available as well. Pantheon's also back up, so they're looking to, I guess, siege down these turrets. Lupa has still got the flank on, so look for M3 to still want to fight with their numbers advantage.
Yeah, Love CC actually copping a house to the head there as well, which is definitely not what you want. This tower hanging on by a thread at this stage. Tibber's gold going to be picked up by Korn here as well as Lupa wants to try and get something started. Twisted advance onto Korn, but he's very mobile. And here's the Grand Skyfall. Lupa's going to cop full damage of that one. He's going to go down almost immediately. Insect's going to fall as well. That's a 1-for-1 trade. Both AD carries picking up the kill credit on that one. Cola not ready to stop this one.
So hard to run away from that Na. His boomerang just does so much damage and slows you as he gets all those hyper procs. So they will finally trade for 1-for-1 and force him off this turret. Will fall. So nicely played by Starhole and Royal Club, being very patient and able to pick themselves up an objective.
Yeah, and a double turret advantage here as well. So 4-2 now on those objectives. So a little bit more map control going in the favor of Royal Club. They just need to make sure that they get the next dragon, and they are definitely ahead in this game.
Yeah, and Cola must be enjoying this 2-0-5. He is becoming extremely potent at this part of the game.
Even more than he was in the last game. At about this stage, he was on about 0-1-5. So even bigger is this now, and you can see he's using that in his build, picking up sort of the early game defensive item choice in that Sunfire Cape.
Yeah, exactly, and Lupa having a little bit of trouble, so we'll see what's going on there and get back into game ASAP. But speaking of Lupa,
yep,
he had such a good world showing. This was a guy that was extremely hyped. We saw him pull out some assassins. He was known for the tanks beforehand, but he's having an absolute nightmare of a series.
Yeah, he's really not having it work out in his favor. And do you think that having these lane swaps come through, do you think that Lupa just maybe doesn't thrive as much in that situation, the sort of low gold situation that does provide?
I honestly think Lupa is a very solid player, but in this team, you saw he wants to be the initiator. He wants to get in there and get things started, but the rest of the map just isn't that far enough ahead.
Yeah.
You can get away with it at the moment. It looks like they're overcommitting to some of these engages. They didn't have enough, I guess, cooldowns up, and they were walking into a Grand Skyfall and a Sivir. So in the end, it just got turned around a little bit too hard. I think that what they need to do is they need to really take it back to basics. Group as 5 and look for clean engages, or do the opposite. Wait until they're engaged upon and use the brilliance of Azir to really split the team. Lee Sin can be highly mobile and look for flanks and get the game turning in their favor that way. I think they're forcing a little bit too much.
Yeah, and there's the fact that Dade's Emperor's Divide was riftwalked out of at exactly the right time by Korn as well. So that ultimate just had no impact in the last skirmish that we saw as well. So that was a lot of the reason why they had to concede that turret and why they're playing on the back foot after that ultimate went down.
Yeah, and I think that what we're seeing is Na Kassadin, their chase potential, and then their AoE wombo potential in teamfights is so big.
Not to mention Leona in this comp.
Yeah, watching these games, it's absolutely horrifying seeing the things that Na Kassadin are doing in teamfights. I would suspect that Na will not be seeing very many pick ban phases after this game today.
And do you think that that combo is a lot of the reason why Korn doesn't really mind who he's against here in the laning phase?
Yeah, potentially. Maybe it's just what they've run over and over, and that's their 1-2 mid-top lane punch. We spoke about the synergy, I guess, between Insec and Zero. Got to give Korn and Kohler a lot of credit here because they've played the mid and top lane synergy perfectly.
Yeah, and they've been playing together for so long as well. That's a really good reason as to why they'd be able to work out these combinations and really work well together.
Yeah. So the whole lineup from Starhorn Royal Club really coming together in this game. Minute 30 until Dragon. They've got a little bit more control. Actually, Vision's fallen away from both sides, so look for them to try and get that set up ASAP. Remember, this is their first one of the game. Dade taking a blue buff for himself. Once again, Ruo and Dade are the two shining lights. I think that Ruo has performed much better this game.
Oh, yeah.
Dade did have a good mid-game last game, but it fell off extremely quickly. I think that on Azir, he needs to really get these team fights going, and he needs to be the sole carry for his team, because we saw that Candy had a good later mid-game, but it took a while to get going, so really needs that second and third item to come through before he's going to be impactful.
Yeah, and again, HYY doing fantastically for Starhorn Royal Club after, you know, being a sub like we mentioned now, 183 to 156 CS as well, so up by about 30. 2-1 and 3 now as well, so a decent score coming out and has those two items that really give you that mid-game spike here on a Sivir.
Yeah, and good vision control out of M3.
Oh, there's the flash into the Timbers here as well, but it's going to be jumped out of by Korn at the same time. The Grand Skyfall is going to answer. Korn's going to fall down. That's a lot of the damage. Emperor's Divide's going to split up this fight as well. Kohler about to get Nari here in this fight, as he doesn't actually quite get the flank that he wants to. We've got Ruo jumping in from the backside. It's a 2-for-1 at the moment. Dade trying to get some damage down. 2-for-2 now as Love CD does fall down. Kohler can't manage to get in there this time. This is not what we're normally seeing from him, and that could have gone so much worse for M3.
Yeah, and well, it could have gone a lot better as well. That was them initiating the fight over the wall, looking for a pick. Great Riftwalker reaction coming out. Looks like they still potentially, no, just checking the Dragon there.
Why would you wake him up like that? That was rude. Bro, yeah, just throwing out a weird thing into his face and then just walking away. And Dragon's like, where the heck you go, buddy?
So, great start of the fight. A better Emperor's Divide that time, really splitting the team apart. Look for that to continue to be very potent, but just not enough overall damage coming through. And you saw the amount of work that HYY was doing on that Sivir as he was able to get there a little bit late, but then clean up the end of that fight.
And so much AoE damage as well with these M3 members that are grouped up with that Ricochet and, of course, that Static Shiv as well. Whoop. That is definitely going to mean the jig is up as that Sonic Wave does land and give a little bit of vision here.
Yeah, so good vision control in their jungle out of M3, looking to get this back. Nice sweeping lanes coming out. We'll be able to take out both of those. Ooh, they've seen Sivir in the bottom lane. Now they're split. This is bad. You do not want to split around New Dragon. I think it's much better to all be on one side. And now it looks like they're all rotating onto potentially top side, although Sivir's still a little bit late. Korn looks like he still wants to come through from the bottom.
That's very cute. I didn't actually know that Sand Soldiers could kill wards, but they can. As this Dragon is going to be started up here on the side of M3, but finally they have managed to come round through here as well. A brilliant Soul Umbrella into two members. HYY immediately going to take out. The Emperor's Divide is going to come through. That's looking really good, but HYY still getting kills around here. That's going to be Korn, just Rift walks over the top. Dade, see you later, mate. You're definitely dead. And Zero already clearing out this mid lane.
That is a completely clean ace. They'll be able to pick up the Dragon as well as the mid inhibitor turret, potentially an inhibitor, although people are up in 10 minutes and only 23 minutes through. And wow, that is all once again on that, I guess, this time it wasn't really the Gnar, it was the Kassadin Leona follow-up that really came through. And Korn just pumping out so much damage. Won't get the inhibitor, but able to pick up the turret and get his team such a big advantage. That's 7,000 gold now.
And they just herded M3 into exactly the choke point that they wanted to fight in as well. And that Solar Flare was immaculate. The Emperor's Divide was fantastic, meaning that no one could really get through. The teleport's coming down here. Looper wanting to make something happen, trying to get onto HYY here. But he's heading the other direction. It's just a little bit of Benny Hill music. Should be cute here.
And all in all this series, we've seen that M3 are just grouping way too much with a Gnar Kassadin on the map. You cannot retreat 5 members on top of each other with that combo there. It just does way too much damage. That Solar Flare was brilliant coming out of Zero, but Korn, he's really stepped up and carried his team this time around. 3-0 and 11. Wow, another member caught out.
Yeah, well, CC, it's just Shield of Daybreak going to be enough to stun him up. It's going to last for a little bit longer before Korn does manage to pick up the kill. Dade getting a little bit of damage in response. He's going to be safe over that wall, but not able to save his support player. Just unfortunate when you're trying to ward and you get caught out. What's going to happen?
Yeah,
and Leona's so much CC.
Just touching on Korn, Dade hasn't had a horrible series, but when you look across at how much he has been outclassed by Korn on Kassadin,
yeah,
it's just, once again, it's just not enough being done by the mid laner from M3.
Kassadin, Korn is definitely a big airplane at this stage of the game.
A nice 7-4-7 scoreline coming through. I can't believe that this time around, Polar hasn't actually died with how aggressive he's played on this Nah. 3-0 and 11, 14 kills out of 20.
And that is the frightening thing about Kohler at the moment, is the fact that he's having a better game than than last game. And last game he had a fantastic game. So M3 definitely must know this, and it must be playing on their minds.
Yeah, and he's now even been able to go a little bit more aggressive. He's picked himself up a Phage. We'll be interested to see if he goes completely into a Trinity Force. He is definitely, I guess, ahead enough. He's completed 2 defensive items against only 1 on the side of Lupa.
It is going to make him really sticky, though, picking up that Phage.
Yeah, but Lupa will get tankier as the game goes on. So look for him to, I guess, be able to get in there and initiate fights and peel. But I just don't think at this point there's enough damage.
Oh, Korn just playing so aggressively. Rift walking right into the face to get that Force Pulse off.
Looks like they will start the siege down on this mid lane. They do have Pantheon lagging a little bit behind, but Insect can, of course, Grand Skyfall in whenever they would like to get this party started. It looks like he has sat back a little bit, looking to use that ultimate to potentially get a fight.
Yeah, and of course, Dade can't use his Sun turret on these inhibitor turrets as well. You can only use it on inners and outer turrets. That's why he's not putting those up. Korn going to come in. Dade taking so much damage. Emperor's Divide going to hit no one here, as well as the slows coming through from Leona. Royal Club have switched it on. Insect's going to fall after ultimating in, but that's 2 members exchanged already. And M3 forced to go back under their bottom side inhibitor turret.
Yeah, and they turned on Insect extremely well, but 2 members still fell before they were able to pick him up. That's the inhibitor, and they're just so scared of Korn's Kassadin at this point. He's just absolutely huge. 7-4 and 8 now. They pick up the inhibitor, make their speedy exit, and that's 7,000 gold, 27 minutes. You think that their eyes turn to Baron now.
Yeah, could imagine that would be the idea. Of course, Chinese teams especially just want to kill Baron as often as they want in general, but at the moment, Star and Royal Club, there's no reason for them not to.
Yeah, they've got complete control over that middle section of the map now. Kohler going to be going down into that bottom lane and picking himself up a nice, juicy minion wave as well.
I really like the Phage synergy with the Hyper as well. Gives you a heck of a lot of movement speed.
Yeah, it just means that you can continue to kite in Mini-Na, gives you a little bit more utility. I guess Mini-Na is only really useful for that persistent slow that he does put out, and then using that bounce to get himself into the team fight when he's got enough of that rage passive to turn into that big beast we're now witnessing.
Yeah, as Insect's going to clear out this top wave as well. Outer turret's still alive here in the top side for Starhorn Royal Club. They're doing really, really well protecting that one out.
Yeah, and Ruo must be looking at his scoreline thinking, where did it all go wrong? I definitely mentioned that probably wouldn't want to have been the recipient of so many early game kills on Lee Sin. Of course, when you're the jungler, it is important to, I guess, get people around you as fed as possible. But he wasn't, every single kill he picked up, he was the person that was pretty much instrumental in making it. He's been the only playmaker around the map for his team, and I think that in the end, it's just becoming a little bit too much.
And Dade not really being able to make this Azir work out for his team as of yet, but we know that Azir can be an absolute monster towards the later stages of this game.
Well, they have set up a little bit of a gank brush. They do have Polar in the bottom lane, about to transform, so if they have a deeper ward, they can potentially look to get him in on that. Keep an eye on the red pit ward there. He has transformed, actually, so probably just going to look to push it on this turret if there is no response out of Lupa.
Yep, and that Phage as well, making him a much better split pusher as well, because he gets a little bit more slippery. as you mentioned, the kiting potential, as Royal Club definitely just have so much control around
Okay, so
this
they've
Baron.
seen Ruo go back on top of that ward. If anything, that may be their key to start it up, and it looks like it is.
Yeah, Baron has been started already, lost a third of its health. There's a teleport coming through here now from Kohler as well. There is Looper coming in on the top side. They really want to fight this one as Dade takes so much damage. The Emperor's Divide doing a lot of work. Actually came over the wall for some weird reason. Looper getting exhausted here as well as Korn has discovered Candy. A double kill for Kohler here as well.
That's absolute. Yeah, this is game right here. It looks like
That was his
Starhorn
mini
Royal
Nah,
Club
by the way.
looking to just push this one through. And as we keep saying, it's just not enough out of M3. There are not enough weapons on this team to be able to really clean it up. Looks like they won't be going for the end. They're just going into the bottom lane, looking to pick themselves up. Potentially another inhibitor with those Barons up minions.
5-0 and 12 on Kohler. Now, I don't think we can talk enough about how impactful he has been on this Gnar. And a lot of it is to do with the fact that Gnar is just really, really strong. But Kohler has been playing this champion to perfection as well.
Yeah, he definitely has been able to control the team fights for his team. Looks like they'll rotate themselves into another dragon. So looking for some recalls. They must have a lot of gold to spend at this point in the game. You'll think there might be a final shop that comes through. And yes, all the members over 1,500 gold nearly, apart from Zero.
Yeah, and still having a little bit of extra gold here as a support is definitely going to be working out. Insect picking up an extra 20 as well by killing that dragon. And Korn probably going to get the heck out of dodge after taking a bit of poke damage, mostly from Dade, you could imagine. Powered recall definitely working out. And HYY now has picked up 4 items on this Sivir. 4 damage items and an elixir as well. So going to be doing so much work. 6, 1, and 10. The sub mid lane player in HYY really showing up here for Royal Club. And I don't know where they got this guy from, but he's definitely pulling his weight here on this team.
Yeah, has played the game very well. They look for 2 lane swaps. You'd have to think that was to their benefit. Yeah, maybe M3 would have done better with standard lanes. But all in all, they've just outclassed M3 across the board, with maybe the exception of Ruo. Ruo and Insect both been very instrumental for their team. But when you can play this well on a losing lineup, especially the way M3 have lost, that guy's definitely had a couple of good games.
He certainly has. Candy about to pick up the last Whisper, so going to be doing a lot more relevant damage once that does come through. That 3-item spike onto Lucian is definitely nothing to scoff about, but we're sort of like looking very hard for the positives for M3 at this stage of the game when they're down 12,000 gold. Of course, no longer with that dragon advantage as well, and the Baron in the hands of Royal Club.
Yeah, so Inhibitor has respawned. They'll rotate over, pick that one up straight away. Ult comes out from Candy to try and deter them.
Doesn't do all that much, though, as the Sand Soldiers are coming in to help Dade out here in the bottom side of the map. Inhibitor's going to fall, though.
They're pinging the top side of the map, looking to finish this one pretty textbook style. Take the last outer, grab themselves as much gold as they can, and why not? There's definitely no rush on this game. As we said, Gnar just gets bigger, Cassidy gets bigger. This Sivir with a 50 CS advantage is absolutely massive now.
Yeah, just huge. So much farm on this Sivir. 33 minutes into the game, 305 CS.
And you would think maybe this is the last roll of his life coming through. There's the ultimate.
Yeah, Moosey's he was there for a second, I swear. Dade as well. Look at the damage that Boomerang had. Empress Divide just to try and save them. The double stun onto the tanky member, still doing so much damage. Dade was there for a sec. I didn't see where he went as the house gets thrown in the opposite direction. Kohler doesn't care, though. Still managing to secure these kills. Looper, you'd think that he was a tank, but not anymore. He's just getting torn apart by this super fed Royal Club lineup.
Okay, so part of it worked out for them. They killed Korn. The bad part is that 4 members on their side have died, and they're going to lose the second inhibitor of the game. You would think that would be the end of this series, and it will be a 2-0 in favor of Starhorn Royal Club.
Yeah, looking brilliant at the moment are our runners-up from Worlds, and even with a stand-in AD carry, I cannot wait to see these guys play with Name.
Yeah, especially the way they've been team fighting, and once again, just leaving the base, 2 inhibitors down. Definitely going to finish this one tutorial style. Probably look for them to go into the bottom lane, but yeah.
I mean, I know they shouldn't have watched those CLG UVODs.
He's played extremely well, but Name is one of the pinnacle team fight AD carries in the world. So you throw him on top of this Korn and Kohler lineup, and it's just going to be completely terrifying.
Yeah, and I mean, that being said, M3 had a whole lot of hype around them as well coming into this. They looked fantastic coming through the LSPL, and this may just not be their day. You know, they may come back and really shock us, and this could be a little bit of a hiccup in their situation. But man, Royal Club just looking so good.
Yeah, and I think that it is the fact that the solo laners are feeling that they need to get far ahead, and they're just not able to do it, as Dade's being caught out here.
Yeah, there's the W going to come through. Hyper just
Kohler's got a
Kohler
BF
does
sword.
not care.
He's got a BF sword.
And HYY has picked himself up a what he probably would have thought was a Stark's Fervor, but it's actually a Zeke's Herald now, buddy. It's a different item. I think it's pretty cute. It's pretty cute. Wanting to maximize Kohler's auto attack damage. Definitely working out.
Get some more life steal out for his team, and it looks like they will be pushing in on this last turret, so maybe they're just a little bit too far ahead at this point.
Yeah, you could imagine so when there's items like that being brought through. The culling going to be used just to try and buy them another wave of time. Is the boomerang going to be dodged out? Double boomerang comp, always difficult to deal with.
Insect, activate your wins, buddy. Let's go. One more team fight. Get in there. Nice.
Yep, press your R button. Being said, now they want to take this.
Dade has actually
slow
put
as
out a
possible.
lot of poke damage onto Kohler there, so may actually have to not go as dive heavy as they would have liked on this team fight. Although if Zero starts it off, he's also a very tanky member.
Yeah, corner going to come through. Here's the go button. Grant Skyfall going to come through. Love CC. CD again going to just pop, as is Dade. There's a massive Gnar into the wall. Yet again, Looper's going to fall down. Candy, I don't know where he quite was, but he is no longer anywhere near this Royal Club team as they are decimating these Nexus turrets. And once again, Royal Club putting on a clinic.
That ultimate combo is so painful to watch.
Oh, yeah.
All of the damage and CC coming in from Gnar, followed up by that Kassadin with the simple ricochets coming across. That was absolutely brutal.
It was so brutal, and as well, corralling them then into that Grand Skyfall, exactly timed as those super creeps enter the base. Silent Royal Club are just looking so good, even with a sub.
Yeah, and that was a very well played out on-point series. M3 maybe not looking as strong as some teams, some people expected them to be with their two superstar Koreans coming across, but they look like they still need to figure some things out. Their synergy did not look fantastic.
No, it just didn't really look up to the bar that has been set so high by a lot of these LPL teams, and I look to their bottom lane as not really having necessarily the impact that we come to expect from the Chinese league.
Yeah, their bottom lane definitely didn't play that well, but I think that Looper just didn't pressure the map in the same way as Kohler did. I think a lot of their problem is about shoring up their solo laners. I think Royo's feeling too much responsibility to stay up there and help them out, and I think that if they get that under control, maybe they can start turning things around.
Yeah, we'll see whether they do manage to in the coming weeks, but without further ado, are going to head to a quick break before we come back to you with WE taking on Snake.